Welcome to this week's compilation of all the episodes of the, I guess it isn't the little tiny quiz of the lockdown, it's more the big little tiny quiz of the lockdown, because this is all of it together in one big go. We're all miserable, lying on the couch, binge eating and living in tracksuit bottoms. It's like the whole world has been dumped, so I put a quiz together to, cheer everyone up a bit. First up, 5 general knowledge questions. Question 1. Which is the only animal with 4 forward-facing knees? Good, isn't it? Which is the only animal with 4 forward-facing knees? Pantomime horse is not the answer. Question 2. It's a while since any of us wore nice shoes. I'm naked from the waist down, like everyone else in the country. But remember nice shoes? Well, stilettos. Stiletto heels. Can you tell me, what is the stiletto named after? Question 3. It's geography. You've got to have some geography. I mean, it's good for you. It's the broccoli of subjects. No one likes it, but it's important. So, which mountain group separates Europe from Asia? Which mountain group separates Europe from Asia? Question 4. You've all heard of Al Capone, but what is the Al short for? So what's Al short for? And the answer isn't because he had little legs. And question 5 is about the village people. I want you to name 4 of the 6 costumes worn by the classic lineup of village people. Next, I'm going to ask you for some movie titles. Each time I'll give you 3 chapter headings from a DVD of a well-known film. If you're young, here's how DVDs worked. Actually, I've no idea how they actually worked. It was like a magic circle that invariably had Tom Hanks in it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You'll be able to work them out. So question 6, which film has these 3 chapter titles in its DVD? Where's My Watch? Ezekiel 25:17, Bring Out the Gimp. You've seen the movie. What's it called? Question 7. The chapter headings are Cooking with Colette, The Exterminator, and The Restaurant Review. 3 sections from which much-loved film. Question 8. Which film has these chapter headings? Christmas Morning, I'm the Man of the House, and I Made My Family Disappear. You've definitely seen this, probably recently. Question 9, a movie classic here, with chapter titles Shit Sandwich, Sexist or Sexy, and It's One Louder, isn't it? But what's the movie? And question 10, Punxsutawney, Phil Kidnaps Phil, and I Got You Babe. A very timely one, this. Name that movie. Well, that's all your questions for Sunday. See you back with the answers shortly. Now remember, on the little tiny quiz, there are no wrong answers, unless of course you get the answer wrong, in which case, yeah, that is a wrong answer. First, we have 5 general knowledge questions. Question 1, I asked you, which is the only animal with 4 forward-facing knees? The answer is, of course, elephants. Never forget. Question 2, I asked you what the stiletto heel was named after. It was named after a kind of weapon, so knife or dagger is acceptable. Whatever gets you the point. Question 3 was, which mountain group separates Europe from Asia? It was the Urals. The Urals. The Urals. Am I saying that right? The Urals. For question 4, I asked you what the Al in Al Capone was short for. It wasn't Alan, it wasn't Alistair, it was Alphonse. Alphonse Capone. And fun fact, he was eventually arrested for tax evasion. Imagine that. Question 5, the village people. The classic lineup contains the following. Biker, sailor, cop, construction worker, cowboy, and Native American or First Nation. The art is formerly known as Indian. Next, I gave you some chapter headings for a well-known movie and asked you for the title. I'm sure you did tremendously well. Here are the answers. Question 6, Where's My Watch? Ezekiel 25:17, Bring Out the Gimp. They are all from Pulp Fiction, one of the classics. For question 7, I gave you Cooking with Colette, The Exterminator, and The Restaurant Review. Well, Exterminator suggests rodent, restaurant suggests, well, a restaurant, and there's only one big movie I know with a restaurant and a rat in it, is of course Ratatouille. Question 8, Christmas Morning, I'm the Man of the House, and I Made My Family Disappear are all, of course, sections from Home Alone. And I mean, I hope you're not. I hope you've got people with you. And if not, I hope this is keeping you company in some small way. Good luck. Not long now. I mean, weeks, but not that long. Question 9. I gave you shit sandwich, sexist or sexy, and it's one louder, isn't it? That was, of course, from the excellent This Is Spinal Tap. You get a point if you say Spinal Tap, but if you put This Is Spinal Tap, you know, you're a little bit special. Finally, question 10. Punxsutawney, Phil kidnaps Phil, I Got You Babe. Watched that one recently? Because, I mean, if you're watching a film where time seems to go on forever, you've got a weird sense of humour, brother. This last one was, of course, Groundhog Day. Question number 1 for this week. Which 2 dances appear in the NATO alphabet? Which 2 dances appear in the NATO alphabet? And the NATO alphabet, well, you know it, even though you don't know you know it. The NATO alphabet is the one that soldiers use in movies when they're on the sort of walkie-talkie thing. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Tea Kettle Barbecue, that sort of thing. Question number 2. Which movie has the tagline, "Does for rock and roll what the Sound of Music did for Hills"? Pretty easy one. Question number 3 is all about those stickers you put on the back of your car to say which country you come from. Simple question, which country uses D? Sounds rude, it isn't. Which country uses D on the back of the car to identify where they're from? Question number 4. How many of the colours of the classic Trivial Pursuit categories are also in the rainbow? So you need to know the colours in the rainbow, right? Easy, there's a song, and the colours in the Trivial Pursuit categories. How many are in common? Looking for a number here. Question 5. Henry VIII was the first person to own a certain item of sportswear. Can you guess what item of sportswear Henry VIII was the first to get? Henry VIII would be a nightmare in a lockdown, wouldn't he? I mean, first sign of trouble, he's getting a divorce. Next, current affairs. 5 topical questions, and don't worry, we'll try and keep away from that item in the news. Question 6. Which Hollywood superstar was a very timely pick to present the first episode of Saturday Night Live at home? And he was bloody good, because he always is. And the show was great, so, you know, watch that. But not now, you're doing a quiz. Come on. Question 7. Other famous faces have been using Instagram to talk about themselves. The Rock did a long Q&A and said there was one movie role he especially wanted that in fact went to Tom Cruise. What was the role? And for sort of bonus points, why was he so annoyed? Question 8. Did you realise they've kept the pop charts going throughout the lockdown? I mean, that's not a yes, no, and you've got it. No, what I want to know is, who's been number 1 for a lot of the lockdown? Is it The Weeknd, Drake, or Dua Lipa? Who's been number 1 for most of the lockdown? Is it The Weeknd, Drake, or Dua Lipa? Is it Dua Lipa? Dua Lipa. I now think I'm saying that wrong. I mean, I'm an old man, I shouldn't know anyway. So is it The Weeknd, Drake, or Dua Lipa? I tell you what, the Dua Lipa album is very good. So I'm just saying. Question 9. We've recently discovered that while he was holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy, Julian Assange did something quite surprising. What was it? So we've recently found out that Julian Assange did something in the Ecuadorian embassy that, well, we were not expecting. What was it? And question 10, your final question today. Donald Trump proved himself still capable of surprises when he signed an executive order saying that America had the right to drill for minerals where? So he defunded the World Health Organization, but he also did some fun stuff. So where did he say it would be cool for the Americans to drill for minerals? Well, that's it for today's quiz, but the answers are coming straight away. So pause the video if you've not had time to answer those, and I'll be right here, right now, with the answers. First, we had 5 general knowledge questions. Question number 1, which 2 dances appear in the NATO alphabet? Of course it was Foxtrot and Tango. Yeah, Strictly viewers, you really should have got that. For question 2, I asked you which movie had the tagline, "Does for rock and roll what the Sound of Music did for Hills?" The answer was, of course, This Is Spinal Tap. If you just said Spinal Tap, you get the point, but not my respect. Question 3 was which country uses D on its international sticker? Well, Germany isn't called Germany in Germany. In Germany, they call Germany Deutschland for some reason. I guess it's their country. They can do what they like. So Germany or Deutschland are the country that uses all that sweet, sweet D on the back of their car. For question 4, I asked you how many colours are in both the rainbow and the classic Trivial Pursuit categories. Well, Trivial Pursuit doesn't have red, indigo, violet, but it does have orange, that's sport, yellow, history, green, that's science and nature, and blue, geography. So the answer is 4. And question 5 was all about sportswear owned by Henry VIII. Well, I can tell you, Henry VIII was the proud possessor of the first ever pair of football boots. And what makes that slightly ironic is that he had earlier in his reign outlawed football as he thought it could start riots. Although these days, I think there's more likely to be a riot if there isn't any football, because people like football and it hasn't been on, and they're annoyed, and they're reduced to doing this kind of nonsense quiz rather than watching the football. Next, I gave you a little collection of topical questions. Question 6 was the one about the host of Saturday Night Live at home. They chose as host someone who'd had the old corona and has happily recovered. It was, of course, Mr. Tom Hanks. Bloody good job he did too. For question 7, I asked you which part was played by Tom Cruise that The Rock really, really wanted. It was action hero Jack Reacher, who in the Jack Reacher books is, he's a huge, sort of muscly bloke, a bit like the Rock, and not a diminutive, muscly bloke like Tom Cruise. So The Rock was, he was annoyed. Yeah. Question 8 was the one about the pop charts and the artist with the number 1 throughout the lockdown. It was The Weeknd and Blinding Light. Hang on, Blinding Lights, and the Weeknd is has only got 2 E's in it, not 3 as you would expect. So down with the kids. Yeah, I know what's going on. Question 9, I asked you about Julian Assange. The answer is that he somehow managed to father 2 children whilst holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy. I say somehow, I mean, we all know how he did it, but still, a bit of a surprise. I imagine the stationery cupboard. Maybe they've got a photocopy room. Anyway, well done, Julian Assange. Question number 10 was the one about Donald Trump. And I can tell you that he signed an executive order saying that he thinks Americans have the right to extract minerals from the moon. Yeah, it comes to something when that's not the dumbest thing he did this week. Question 1. Which make of car was advertised with the slogan Vorsprung durch Technik? An easy one if you're of a certain age. If you're not of that age, then good luck. Question 2, sport. Well, kind of. Quidditch, actually. A Quidditch team consists of 3 chasers, 2 beaters, and 1 each of what positions? So 2 Quidditch positions I'm looking for here. Question 3, books again. The pop group, the Boo Radleys. Do you remember the Boo Radleys? I mean, if you don't, take my word for it, there was a band called the Boo Radleys, and they're named after a character in which American novel? It's one of the biggies. Question 4. Only 3 countries begin with the letter F. Name them. You've all got 1. The other 2 are the struggle. And question 5. Who is the only person in American history to have been made a 6-star general? Next, I'm going to ask you for the titles of 5 movies. For each one, I'll show you some images and you just say out loud what you see and you'll be saying the name of a film. Sort of. I mean, there's a few that are a stretch. Okay, question 6, just say the 2 things you can see and you'll be saying the name of a film or something that sounds a lot like the name of a film. Close enough. Question 7, another movie here. Which one? Yes, it is that simple. Question 8, an Oscar winner here, but what's the title? Question 9, it's a film. What's the film? And question 10, put them together, what have you got? Well, there you go. There's today's questions. If you want to pause the video, then I'll give you the answers straight away. Yeah, I'm not doing anything else. I'll crack straight on. I know the lockdown has been incredibly hard for many people. I'll tell you who I feel really sorry for. Burglars. What are they doing? Poor loves. First, we had 5 general knowledge questions. Question 1 was, which make of car was advertised with the slogan Vorsprung durch Technik? The answer was Audi. Yeah, remember, Audis, they were cars. Oh, cars were good. We used to drive cars to places. Do you remember places? Oh, memories. For question 2, I asked you about Quidditch and the remaining positions were keeper and seeker. Maybe if you didn't get that, might be a good idea to go and read all of the Harry Potter books from the beginning again. Yeah. Question 3, the Boo Radleys, the band, were named after, unsurprisingly, Boo Radley, who is a character in To Kill a Mockingbird. For question 4, I asked you for 3 countries whose names start with F. Everyone got France, right? You got France. Most of you will have got Finland, but did you remember Fiji? Yeah, Fiji, it's a place, starts with an F. Yeah. And question 5 was the one about the only 6-star general in American history. This honour was bestowed on George Washington, although the smart money is on Trump making himself a 7-star general before too long. Next, I gave you movie titles in sort of a sound-alike picture fashion. Okay, question 6 was a scarf and an ace. Scarface. 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 How could you not get that? Scarface. For question 7, you saw 2 cities, an N and a cane. So cities and cane. Cities and cane. Question 8 was a specific chess piece, the king, and a peach. So the king's peach. King's peach. King's speech. I can see how he got a speech impediment. For question 9, you saw Amel Clooney and some days. So Amel days. Amel days. Amel days? Amel days. Amel days. Amel days. It worked better earlier. Amadeus? Amel days. Amadeus. Anyway, the answer is Amadeus, and I know. Right to the usual address. Finally, question 10, what noise does a donkey make? Bray. We all know what that second image was of. Braveheart. Braveheart. Yeah, better than Amadeus. Braveheart. Up first, general knowledge. Question number 1, a straightforward one to get you going. What's the main ingredient of gazpacho? What's the main ingredient of gazpacho? Question 2, what is the more common name for the Aurora australis? What is the more common name for the Aurora australis? Question 3, of the 8 fellas on the Reservoir Dogs poster, 6 have names that are Mr. and then a colour. Who are the other 2? So Reservoir Dogs, 6 of the characters are Mr. and then a colour. Who are the other 2 characters on the poster? Question 4, the full title of which novel of 1837 is the name of the main character followed by the words, or a parish boy's progress? Really, how many novels do you know from 1837? 1. It's that one. And question 5. Use your skill and judgment on this one. Across the original series of Star Trek, how many times was the line, "Beam me up, Scotty," used? Next, we're going to imagine some journeys we can make once all this unpleasantness is over. I'll show you 5 maps. In each one, the starting point and the destination rhyme. I name both for the point. I'll give you clues this time because last time people complained that this bit was a bit too difficult. Okay, question number 6. You're going from a city in Europe to a city in Australia. Their names rhyme. So, what are they? Rhyming journeys, that's what we're doing. Question 7, another rhyming journey. 2 European cities this time, from where to where? Question 8, We start in an Irish city, we move to an English city. What are their names? The clue is they rhyme. Also, the map. The map is the clue. Question 9. From an Indian city to an American one, which ones? Final question for the day. Question number 10. A city in Mali to a country in South America. Which ones? Well, that's it for Wednesday. I'll be back in a bit with today's answers. I mean, when I say a bit, right now. Basically, about sort of 4 seconds, I'll start on the answers. So pause the video if you don't want the answers. Hello again. I'm hoping by the time this is all over, you'll have learnt a few things and you'll have Stockholm Syndrome and you'll think of me as your new leader. Fingers crossed. First, we had 5 general knowledge questions. Question 1, I was looking for the main ingredient of gazpacho. It is, of course, tomatoes. It's cold tomato soup. You know, fine. For question 2, I asked you for the more common name for the Aurora Australis. It is, of course, the Southern Lights. It's weird, you only hear about the Northern Lights, but there are Southern Lights, and that's what they're called. Question 3 was the Reservoir Dogs one. The other characters without colour names are Nice Guy Eddie and Joe. Very impressed if you got both. Have a bonus point, in fact. Well done you. For question 4, I asked you the full title of which novel of 1837 is the name of the main character followed by the words "or a parish boy's progress." The boy in question was Oliver Twist. So the full title is Oliver Twist or A Parish Boy's Progress. Fun fact. Question 5 was the one where I tried to trick you, but I imagine it didn't work. I asked you how many times they said "beam me up, Scotty" in Star Trek, and the answer was never. They never said that, so the answer is 0, nada, nothing. Next, I gave you those rhyming journeys, which, by all accounts, you hate, but I rather like, and it's my quiz, so we did them. Let's have the answers. Question 6 was Lisbon to Brisbane. Lisbon to Brisbane. I mean, what's not to like about this quiz? Question 7, I asked you to take a journey from Siena to Vienna. Siena to Vienna. Fine. Question 8 was from Ireland to England, from Cork to York. From Cork to York. Are we having fun? I feel like we're having fun. And question 9, I asked you to travel from Bombay to Santa Fe. From Bombay to Santa Fe. Finally, question 10 started out in Timbuktu and ended in Peru. So from Timbuktu to Peru. Question 1. Sodium chloride is the chemical name of a substance which you definitely have in your home right now. What is it? Question 2. Who starred in both the kids' movie The Railway Children and the grown-ups horror movie An American Werewolf in London? Question 3. At the Live Aid concert, the first act on was Status Quo. What was the very appropriate song they chose to start the day with? Question 4. The Tate Museum has been home to a piece of work from 1917 which scandalised the art world. It's called The Fountain, but it's not a fountain. What is it really? It's called The Fountain, but what is it really? And question 5. Which bird has eyes which can barely move around inside their eye sockets? When you think of the bird I'm thinking of, you'll know it's right. It makes perfect sense. Next, I'm going to ask you for the titles of 5 songs. They're all songs by Madonna, and they're all depicted in emoji form. Question 6. 3 emojis, 1 Madonna song. Which one? Question 7. 2 emojis this time, still 1 Madonna song. Which one? Question 8. Which Madonna song is it this time? Question 9. We're running low on Madonna songs. Which Madonna mega hit are we seeing in emoji form here? And question 10. Everyone's favourite Madonna song. What is it? It's weird how we've all started to wash our hands a lot more, and yet we're washing the rest of us a lot less, although that is helping with social distancing. First up, we had 5 general knowledge questions. Question number 1 was the one about sodium chloride, which is of course the chemical name for salt, as in pass the sodium chloride love. For question 2, I asked you who was in both The Railway Children and An American Werewolf in London. It was of course the great Jenny Agutter. Yeah. Question 3 was about Live Aid and Status Quo, that they're a band from the past. Anyway, the answer was Rocking All Over the World. That was the first song they played at Live Aid. Seemed appropriate. Question 4, I asked you what the artwork, the fountain, really was. It was a urinal. It was Duchamp. He got a urinal and signed it and called it the fountain. And modern art never got any funnier than that. Well done, Duchamp. And question 5 was the one where you had to say which bird I was thinking of, with the eyes that can barely move in its sockets. To make up for this, the bird can revolve its whole head 270 degrees. It is, of course, the owl. Next, I gave you Madonna songs in emoji form. Of course I did. I've run out of things to do. It's week 4. Okay, question 6, we saw a father, or perhaps a papa, and the universal symbol for don't, and then a church. So the song was, of course, Papa Don't Preach. Classic. For question 7, a suitcase, a spot of sunshine. The answer, holiday. For question 8, we had something true and something blue. True blue. For question 9, we saw that don't emoji again, plus some crying and a certain South American flag. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Finally, question 10 was a lovely island, but in Spanish, in other words, La Isla Bonita, which is my favourite Madonna song, if you're interested, which you're not. First up, some general knowledge questions. Question number 1 today. What colour is the Golden Gate Bridge? I'll give you a clue, it's not golden. Question 2. How many movies have been made in the Die Hard franchise? And if you can name them all, yippee-ki-yay, mother... Hang on, who bleeped that? Are we bleeping? Question 3. Which South American country gets its name from a place in Italy? So question 3. Which South American country gets its name from a place in Italy? Satisfying. Question 4. In 2001, Chris Hadfield became the first Canadian to go for a walk where? And question 5. All Australian citizens are entitled to a free portrait of someone. But who is that someone? Next, I'm going to give you the chapter titles from the DVD of a well-known film. In each case, give me the name of the film. Now, a DVD is like, it's like Netflix, but they were sold individually in boxes. It's a long time ago. Question 6. The chapter titles are Poppies Will Put Them to Sleep, Attack of the Winged Monkeys, and Inside the Cyclone. What film are we talking about? Question 7. Which film has these scenes? Chaos in the Kitchen, Predator in the Powerhouse, and Welcome to the Tour. Question 8. Which movie has these chapter titles? Lament for a Sofa, Secret Formula Soap, and Nesting Instinct. Question 9. The chapter titles are Not loonies, but fishermen. Medication time, and Mr. McMurphy's here. What's the film? And question 10, Fish and Cookies, The Single Mum, and The Single Dad. What's the movie? Well, that's it for Friday night's questions. I'll be back with the answers, well, almost immediately. Press pause if you don't want them yet and you want to have a little bit of a think. I'm back! The upside of the lockdown is we all get to finally find the time to do things we've been meaning to do for ages, like clearing out the garage, painting the spare room, or getting a divorce. First, we have 5 general knowledge questions. Question 1 was, what colour is the Golden Gate Bridge? Well, it's officially known as International Orange. Yeah, there is a thing called International Orange, and that is the colour of the Golden Gate Bridge. But if you just put orange or anything that means orange, I mean, obviously, you get the point. Be generous to yourselves. For question 2, I asked you how many Die Hard movies there had been. Well, there's Die Hard, Die Hard 2, quite a short ideas meeting there, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Live Free or Die Hard, and A Good Day to Die Hard. So the answer is 5. And if you got them all, yippee-ki-yay, mother. It bleeped again. Weird. Question 3 was, which South American country gets its name from a place in Italy? Well, the city is Venice, and the country is Venezuela. Venezuela. I don't know who the whaler was, but Venice is definitely the Venice in Italy. For question 4, in 2001, Chris Hadfield became the first Canadian to go for a walk where? Well, it was in space. He was visiting the International Space Station and he went for a walk. I guess maybe the International Space Station, everyone's sort of huddled together and going for a walk is the only time you get to yourself. So he went for a walk, and I think we can all empathise with that. Yeah, I'm just nipping down to the garage, love. I've had enough. And question 5 was the one about how Australians are entitled to ask for a free portrait of someone. It's the head of state, the Queen. Yeah, under the Constituents Request Programme, you can ask your MP for flags and a portrait of Her Majesty, and the MP is duty-bound to provide you with flags and a portrait of Her Majesty. So if you're watching this in Australia, I mean, have at it. You might as well, it's free. Next, I gave you the chapter headings from DVDs. Which films were they? First one was pretty easy, I think. Question number 6, Poppies Will Put Them to Sleep, Attack of the Winged Monkeys, and Inside the Cyclone. They were, of course, from the film The Wizard of Oz, which is good. It's an allegory for life in America. The Tin Man is industry, and the Straw Man represents the farmers, and the Cowardly Lion is the politician. It's about checks and balances in government. You could Google that if you like, and if not, just continue with this quiz. Fun. For question 7, I asked you which movie has the scenes Chaos in the Kitchen, Predator in the Powerhouse, and Welcome to the Tour. The answer is Jurassic Park, and Jurassic Park is about it's about some dinosaurs that sort of come to life and go crazy. Not really about anything, but it's good. Question 8 was Lament for a Sofa, Secret Formula Soap, and Nesting Instinct. The movie was, of course, Fight Club, which I haven't seen in years. I'm going to watch again this evening. That's cheered me right up. Question 9, chapter titles were Not Loonies, but Fishermen, Medication Time, and Mr. McMurphy's Here. The film was, of course, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Finally, question 10 was Fish and Cookies, The Single Mum, and The Single Dad. And the movie was the classic rom-com, One Fine Day. Up first, 5 general knowledge questions. Question number 1 is simple, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's easy. Have a go at spelling chrysanthemum. No shame if you get it wrong, no points either, but no shame. Spell chrysanthemum. Question 2, which was the first NASA Apollo mission to get a man on the moon? We're looking for a number here. Question 3, what is the name of the fictional suburb that's home to the Waterhole and Lassiter's Hotel? Question 4, real world geography this time. Skopje is the capital of which European country? Skopje, I hope I'm saying that right, Skopje is the capital of which European country? And question 5, In 1991, a firestorm in Oakland, California destroyed the home of a computer games designer named Will Wright. He then had to create a new home for himself from scratch, giving him the idea for what massively successful game? Next, I've taken the names of some books, translated them into Korean, and then back into English. I need you to give me the original titles. Question 6. Striped feline received our hospitality. That's a version of a title of a book whose name you know. What is that book? Question 7. The ogre is vast and good-natured. What's the original title? The ogre is vast and good-natured. What's the original? Question 8. The new title is Concerning Small Vermin and Homo sapiens. What is it usually known as? Question 9. End the life of a derisive avian creature. What's the real book title? Question 9. End the life of a derisive avian creature. What's the real book title? And question 10. Harrowing Habitation. What is that novel really called? Harrowing Habitation. What's the novel called? That's all the questions we've got time for today. The answers are coming up, well, right now. Press pause if you don't want the answers yet and you want to kind of stew on this a little bit. I like to think of this quiz as a bit of a morale boost for the nation, a bit like the Queen's coronavirus broadcast, although I was a little bit disappointed that Madge didn't do it in Uggs and a hoodie. Can't have everything, can you? First, we had 5 general knowledge questions. Question 1 was the one where I asked you to spell chrysanthemum. Did you succeed? The answer is Chrysanthemum. It is easier written in front of you, but if you got it, well done, and if you didn't, I mean, don't worry. For question 2, I asked you which of the Apollo missions was the first to get people onto the moon. It was, of course, Apollo 11. Or, if you are some sort of conspiracy nutter, none of the missions. It never happened, and the world is actually flat. But I mean, if you're that kind of nutter, you're probably not watching this on the internet. Question 3 was about the fictional suburb that's home to the Waterhole and Lassiter's Hotel. From the TV world of Neighbours, it's Erinsborough. Erinsborough, it's like a made-up place. Yeah. For question 4, I asked you where you can find Skopje. Well, technically the country is now called North Macedonia, but you could just put Macedonia. You don't need the North, I'm not a monster. And question 5 was the one about the computer games designer who rebuilt his home, giving him an idea for a game called The Sims. Yeah, that went well. His house burning down. You don't often get to say that. Oh, his house burned down. He's thrilled. For the next 5 questions, I gave you some book titles, which I translated into Korean and then back again. Question 6 was Striped Feline Received Our Hospitality. That was The Tiger Who Came to Tea. Yeah, I presume you have all watched Tiger King. I think it's now mandatory. Yeah. For question 7, I asked you to untranslate The Ogre is Vast and Good-Natured. It was, of course, the Roald Dahl classic, the BFG, the Big Friendly Giant. Question 8 was Concerning Small Vermin and Homo sapiens. It was, of course, Of Mice and Men. Nice. Bit of Steinbeck for you, bit of class. For question 9, we had End the Life of a Derisive Avian Creature. End the life of, to kill, derisive, mocking, an avian creature, bird, so the answer, to kill a mockingbird. And finally, question 10, Harrowing Habitation. That was, of course, Charles Dickens' novel, Bleak House. Well, that's it for today. My advice is stay safe, stay indoors, and don't start drinking your hand sanitizer. I'm talking to you, Scotland.